Welcome back to the deep dive. If you're joining us today, it's because you aren't satisfied with just the surface level stuff.
Right, you want the mechanics.
Exactly. You want to crack the casing open and see how the gears actually turn. And today, oh man, today we are looking at some very dark, very intricate gears.
It is good to be back, and you are right about the dark part. We are dissecting 47 minutes of television that I honestly believe changed the medium forever.
That is a massive claim. But looking at the stack of research we have sitting right here, the articles, the interviews, the critical essays from 2009, I think you might be entirely right.
I mean, we're diving into Breaking Bad.
But not the whole show. We aren't doing the typical, Heisenberg is a cool badass thing.
No. We are laser focused on one specific pivotal span of television. Season 2, Episode 12. Phoenix. Aired May 24th, 2009.
Written by John Chabon and directed by Colin Buxey. And our mission today for you listening is to use the Wikipedia entry as our roadmap to explore why this specific episode is considered a total masterpiece of tension.
Tension, character development, and just unbearable tragedy.
Unbearable is the word. Because if you ask any television historian to point to the exact moment Walter White stopped being a desperate father and started being a monster,
They point to the final 60 seconds of this exact episode.
it's the event horizon. He crosses it, and you just can't come back.
But what's so wild, and what we're going to unpack today, is how the episode is meticulously structured to get us there.
Right, because it's not just Walt doing a bad thing out of nowhere. The entire episode is this relentless pressure cooker designed to force that precise moment.
Precisely. We're going way beyond the plot. We all know what happens, but we want to understand how it happens.
We're going to look at the plot mechanics, the behind-the-scenes production secrets, the critical reception.
And some very specific acting choices that led to major awards.
Yeah, we're going to talk about a specific piece of special effects makeup, a chest cast that tells you just how physically brutal the production actually was for the actors.
And an actor having to imagine their own child dying just to get the emotion right.
Right? It is heavy stuff. But to understand it, we have to start with the stress. The episode kicks off with Walt in a massive professional crisis colliding with a personal crisis.
It is the ultimate Breaking Bad squeeze.
He has the inventory, the blue meth, and he barely manages to deliver it to Gus Fring in time.
Gus Fring, who is the ultimate on-time guy. If you're late, you're done.
So Walt makes the delivery. He succeeds professionally, but the consequence of that success is devastating.
He misses the birth of his daughter, Holly.
He misses the birth, and we have to just sit with the irony of that.
Right, because his entire justification, his mantra from day one, has been that he's doing all of this for his family.
I do this for my family.
Exactly. But the very act of providing for them literally removes him from the most important family moment imaginable.
And the way this is shown at the hospital is just brilliant visual storytelling.
Oh, it's so good.
Walt finally arrives. He's frantic, he's sweaty, he probably smells like chemicals. He bursts into the hospital room, and what does he see?
He sees Skylar and the baby. But Walt isn't the one who got her there.
No, it's her boss, Ted Benicki.
Ted is standing right there near the bed. He's playing the role of the supportive partner.
He drove her. He was present.
And looked up blocking in that scene. Ted is physically embedded in the family unit while Walt is standing in the doorway.
Framed totally out of it. It's complete domestic displacement.
He has been replaced. He just made over $1 million in a drug deal. But in the room that actually matters, he is an outsider.
And it fuels his resentment so deeply because he feels like a martyr, right? Like he's doing all this hard work and getting zero appreciation.
Which perfectly sets up his inability to share his success.
Yes, the secret stash. This leads to the garage scene, which highlights his isolation so well.
He has the money now, stacks of it. But he can't tell his wife. He can't tell his teenage son.
So what does he do? He privately shows the cash to the newborn baby.
Inside the dusky garage walls, he pulls back the pink fiberglass insulation to reveal the hidden stacks of green money.
And he's standing there with this soft, innocent baby, showing her the corrupt drug money.
He says something like, "Daddy did that for you."
It is so pathetic. He is so utterly alone that he can only share his massive criminal success with an infant.
An infant who has no concept of what money is? She can't validate him.
It just proves he's really doing it for his own ego. He needs to show off his empire, even if it's to a baby.
And that profound isolation Walt feels is a perfect mirror for what's happening on the other side of town with Jesse and Jane.
The spiral of addiction. Jane's double life is fully collapsing in this episode.
Kristen Ritter plays Jane, And she brings this incredibly tragic duality to the role.
Because she's not just Jesse's girlfriend who uses heroin, she's a daughter.
Right. And her morning routine shows how exhausting that double life is. She wakes up to a call from her father.
Donald Margolis.
Yes. And she immediately lies to him. She says she's late for a Narcotics Anonymous meeting.
Hiding her relapse instantly. It's just reflex at this point.
And that lie continues into their lunch meeting.
Oh, the lunch scene is so painful. Donald asks about Jesse, and Jane acts like she barely knows him, right in front of Jesse. Or at least, she plays it off to completely isolate Jesse from her real life.
She treats him like a stranger because she knows her dad would intervene if he knew she was dating a user.
But Jesse is already dealing with so much trauma, and now the woman he loves is essentially acting ashamed of him.
It breaks his heart.
Uh-huh.
But Jane's wall of lies doesn't hold up for long.
No. The second call happens. Donald calls when Jane is late for another rehab meeting.
But this time, it's an ambush. Donald is waiting outside.
Unbeknownst to Jane, he sees her leaving Jesse's apartment. He puts the pieces together.
And he barges in. He finds the evidence.
The heroin, it's sitting right there.
And Donald is furious. He gives her a massive ultimatum.
He threatens to call the police on his own daughter, which shows you just how terrified and desperate he is to save her life.
He only stops because Jane begs him. She promises to enter rehab the very next day.
She asks for one more chance.
And Donald gives it to her. That is the tragedy. He leaves her there for one more night.
Which gives us the climax of Jesse's financial demand, because Jesse wants his money to escape.
Jesse demands his share of the drug money from Walt, almost $500,000, $480,000 to be exact.
And Walt flat out refuses.
Walt argues that giving Jesse that much cash while he is actively using heroin is a death sentence.
He says he'll only pay him when he's clean. Now, we have to look at this objectively. Is Walt wrong?
Not at all. Giving a heroin addict $500,000 is basically handing them a loaded weapon.
So Walt is doing the right thing.
Well, yes and no. He is factually correct about the danger, but Walt's true motivation is usually control.
Right. He doesn't like Jesse making demands. He doesn't like Jesse slipping away from his influence.
Exactly. And that power dynamic shifts entirely when Jane steps in.
Jane intervenes. She calls Walt directly to blackmail him.
She threatens to expose him. She says she'll blow the whistle on the high school teacher making meth if he doesn't bring the cash.
It's a bold move, but it seals her fate. She has no idea who she's really dealing with.
She thinks she's dealing with a cowardly chemistry teacher, not a burgeoning drug kingpin.
But her blackmail works temporarily. Walt caves.
He delivers the money to Jesse and Jane in these big duffel bags.
And their reaction is pure euphoria. They are ecstatic.
They immediately start talking about getting clean and running away to New Zealand to be graphic designers.
It's a total fantasy, because even as they're planning this beautiful, clean life, the source material notes they still feel a strong pull to use their remaining heroin.
The money doesn't cure the addiction. It just funds it.
Before we see the result of that, we really need to touch on the money laundering subplot.
The Save Walter White website.
Yes, because Walt has all this cash now, but he has a major problem.
He can't use it for his cancer surgery without raising massive suspicion from his family and the IRS.
So Walter Jr., his sweet teenage son, creates a website for donations using PayPal.
It's so well-intentioned.
But Saul Goodman, Walt's sleazy lawyer, sees it as the perfect loophole.
Saul proposes using a hacker. They make it look like small, anonymous donations are pouring in from computers all over the world.
But really, it's just Walt's own drug money being drip-fed back into his legitimate bank account.
It is a brilliant scheme, but it is psychological torture for Walt.
Because he has to sit there and watch his son take the credit for saving the family, while Walt has to pretend to be a humble charity case.
He hates charity. And he can't even brag about the fact that he actually earned the money himself.
It's the perfect encapsulation of his ego problem. But all of this stress drives Walt out of the house.
Which brings us to the coincidence at the bar.
This is such a fascinating narrative choice. Walt goes to a bar to unwind, and he unknowingly sits right next to Donald Margolis,
Jane's father, sitting next to Jesse's father figure.
The extreme narrative coincidence of this meeting brings these two desperate fathers together.
A lot of critics talk about this moment. It feels incredibly fateful.
And they strike up a conversation. They discuss the Phoenix probe's discovery of water on Mars,
which gives the episode its title. The idea of finding something precious in a totally desolate landscape.
And quickly, the conversation turns to their family frustrations.
They bond over the difficulty of trying to help family members who absolutely refuse to do what is good for them.
Donald talks about his daughter, though he doesn't name Jane.
And Walt talks about his quote-unquote nephew, referring to Jesse.
And Donald gives Walt this key piece of advice. He says that one can never give up on one's family.
Never give up on family. Those words resonate so deeply with Walt.
They inspire him. They are the catalyst for the entire climax of the episode.
Because of Donald's advice, Walt decides to return to Jesse's house that night.
He goes back to not give up on his nephew.
He breaks in, or sneaks in, and finds Jesse and Jane passed out in bed from the heroin use.
And this is the turning point of the entire series.
The physical action in this scene is so deliberate.
Walt leans over the bed and tries to shake Jesse awake.
But in the process of shaking Jesse, he inadvertently knocks Jane.
She was sleeping on her side, propped up with a pillow, which addicts do so they don't choke if they get sick.
But Walt's physical action knocks her onto her back.
And the biological reaction is almost immediate.
Jane starts to choke on her own vomit.
And we have to break down Walt's reaction here because it happens in 3 distinct stages.
Stage 1. Human instinct. He rushes to the other side of the bed to help her.
His hands literally reach out to roll her back over. It would take 1 second to save her life.
But then comes stage 2. Hesitation.
He stops. You see the mental calculation happening behind his eyes.
He realizes that this woman just blackmailed him. She is threatening his freedom, and she is taking Jesse away from him.
And stage 3, he changes his mind.
He pulls his hands back, and he just watches.
He lets her die. He stands there and listens to her choke to death.
It is horrifying. The aftermath on his face is so complex.
He begins to cry. The tears actually fall. He is devastated by what he is allowing himself to do.
But he doesn't look away. The script says he looks on resolutely.
The tears stop, and the coldness takes over. He accepts the monster he has to become to survive.
Let's talk about the production and acting insights here, because capturing that moment took an incredible toll on everyone involved.
Bryan Cranston playing Walter White and Kristen Ritter as Jane Margolis.
We have to talk about Ritter's experience filming this death scene.
Her initial reaction when she read the script was actually quite different from the reality of shooting it.
Yeah, she thought the death scene would be rock and roll. She thought it would be fun to act out.
But the reality of lying there, pretending to choke on your own fluids, became incredibly intense.
They even had to use special effects makeup for the logistics of it all.
They built a cast for her chest.
A physical plate, so that Aaron Paul, who plays Jesse, could pound on it during the resuscitation attempts in the following scenes without hurting her.
It makes you realize how physical and violent the whole sequence was.
And Ritter noted something very striking about Cranston after they filmed the choking scene.
She said she saw Bryan Cranston sitting quietly in the corner after the take and described him as just looking completely intense and shaken.
We actually know why he looked that way, thanks to his memoir, A Life in Parts.
He wrote about his method for that specific moment.
Cranston actually imagined his own real-life daughter, Taylor Dearden, as Jane during the filming.
He pictured his own child choking to death in that bed so he could conjure that level of pure panic and grief. He described it as the most harrowing scene he did on Breaking Bad.
And it translates directly to the screen. The critical reception for this episode was absolutely stellar.
The reviews and analysis immediately recognized what a milestone it was.
Emily St. James at Slant called it a beautifully rich and layered work.
She noted how it perfectly captured the theme of how parents and children disappoint each other.
Donna Bowman at the AV Club gave it an A rating.
She said it was perhaps the single best episode to date of the entire show.
And Alan Sepinwall, writing for What's Alan Watching, praised Cranston's performance heavily.
He made a brilliant comparison. He compared this episode to the Sopranos episode, Kennedy and Heidi,
where Tony Soprano suffocates Christopher.
Right. Another anti-hero choosing to let a younger surrogate family member die for their own self-preservation.
It's a fantastic parallel. IGN's Seth Amidon gave it an 8.9 out of 10, noting how effectively it pushed the tension right up to the finale.
And the awards recognized the achievement too.
Bryan Cranston won his second of 3 consecutive Outstanding Lead Actor Emmy Awards for this exact performance.
And the writer, John Shiban, was nominated for a Writers Guild of America Award for episodic drama.
The legacy of Phoenix is cemented in television history.
In 2019, The Ringer ranked it 17th out of all 62 episodes of the show.
And Vulture ranked it 23rd overall. It always lands near the top.
Because it's the pivot point. It's the summary of the show's ultimate dual nature.
It is a story of a father trying to save his family, which is Walt, and a father losing his family, which is Donald.
And those two fatherly journeys intersect in the most tragic way possible at that bar.
Bringing us back to the Phoenix metaphor, the connection between the Mars probe discussion and the themes of discovery and absolute desolation.
Walt discovers his true capacity for darkness in the desolation of that bedroom.
Which brings us to our final thought for you to take away from this deep dive.
We want you to consider the concept of passive action.
Because legally, Walt didn't kill Jane. He didn't administer the drug.
But he didn't save her when he easily could have.
So where does the line between a bystander and a perpetrator actually blur?
If you choose to do nothing when doing something costs you nothing, are you a murderer?
Morally, he crossed the line.
We encourage you to go back and rewatch the bar scene with all of this in mind.
Watch it knowing exactly who Donald is and knowing the tragic irony of the advice he gives.
The father of the victim accidentally gives the killer the motivation to be in the room. It is haunting.
It really is. Thank you for diving deep with us today.
Remember that even in fiction, the most powerful and devastating moments often come from quiet decisions rather than loud explosions.
Well said. We will catch you on the next one.